Workplace culture has evolved over the decades. While it was once standard for white men to hold all the power, leaders have been increasingly more diverse. And some companies are focusing more on the importance of inclusivity. So what lies ahead for 2024?
Yeah, Dr. Jess Kriegel is a chief scientist of workplace culture at Culture Partners, and she joins us now with a look at the changing workplace culture. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we hear that term a lot, but what does it actually mean?
Culture, very simply, is the way that people think and act to get results. That's the simplest way of thinking about it, and it allows leaders to understand that if you want to intentionally craft culture, you just have to think about what are people thinking, how are they acting, and how can we drive results through culture.
Okay, so before we look ahead, let's take a look back. What were some of the biggest culture moments of 2023?
Well, it started with the massive tech layoffs at the beginning of 2023, which swung the pendulum in the other direction, right? 2022 was the year of the Great Resignation. Power lied with the employees, and then the employers took the power back with these layoff headlines. And then there were other culture moments like the headlines that were made by Disney, by Anheuser-Busch, by Target that had brand decisions that reflected their cultures that were, in some cases, not necessarily embraced by the public and their consumers.
All right, so we've been talking a lot about diversity and inclusion, but do you think companies are starting to shift away with that, and why is that the case?
You know, I'm on UKG's Workforce Institute board, and they've just released their mega trends for 2024. And one of the things they say is that 2024 is going to separate the walkers from the talkers when it comes in particular to diversity, equity, and inclusion. There are people who have been doing diversity initiatives, we'll call them, which are short-term programs. They're largely performative. They don't necessarily make an impact. And they're probably going to stop. The affirmative action ruling allowed them to, right? Now, not allowed them to legally, but allowed them to from a PR perspective. Then you've got the people who do it because they know that it impacts results, and they're going to continue investing in those initiatives. And even better, they're not making an initiative, it's rather part of their culture. Our research this year about women in leadership showed that companies that have more diversity in their leadership roles actually outperform companies with less diversity. So if you want to run your business and you want that business to grow, you're going to make it a part of your culture.
So it moves less away from more of a trend to more practicing what you preach.
Exactly, the way people think and act.
Right.
If your culture embraces in the way that they think and act diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's going to be way more powerful than some training program that's short-lived.
Okay, so let's talk about the next year. What are your predictions for the new year?
Well, I think the new year is going to be conflict-ridden because it is an election year. We release a quarterly State of Culture report at Culture Partners, and we just for the first time saw that some of the best things that people identify about their culture is diversity, equity, and inclusion, but one of the top of the list for worst things about culture was, quote, woke ideology. So what you're seeing is political polarization in the workplace that's creating workplace conflict, and I think that's only going to amplify in 2024.
All right. It should definitely be an interesting year, Dr. Jess Kriegel. Thank you so much for coming in and taking your time to speak with us about this important topic.
Thanks
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.
And for more workplace culture tips and ideas, you can follow Dr. Kriegel on TikTok. The information you see right there on your screen.